Hello, Ryan Weems here, BG Customer Service. We're here today, we're going to do a BG automatic transmission fluid service. When we talk about automatic transmission fluid services, what we're talking about is taking the old transmission fluid out and putting new transmission fluid in. There's a couple different methods of doing this. The typical to-go-to method of changing the old transmission fluid is what is known as a drain and fill. What that means is that what we'll do is there's actually a pan on the bottom of this transmission. And what happens is when we do a drain and fill, we actually take that pan down. We drain the fluid that's in that pan, we put the pan back on there, and we put more transmission fluid back into the transmission. We still have the old fluid in the transmission. When we start the engine, transmission engages and that old fluid and new fluid mixes. Technically, you don't have new fluid anymore. That's not very efficient. What we're wanting to do with BG products, we've developed a system to where we can get all the old fluid out, put new fluid in there. What we'll do is we'll start that process by adding BG Quick Clean. We'll add Quick Clean to the old transmission fluid in the transmission. We'll start the engine, we'll engage the transmission, and what's happening as the Quick Clean is going through this transmission, the Quick Clean is actually taking the varnish and gum that's built up throughout this system and putting it into suspension. Once we get that varnish and gum into suspension, we're going to use a machine to take the old fluid out that has that varnish and gum in suspension. We're going to take all that out. We're going to put new fluid back into the transmission. When we put the new fluid back in there, we're going to add a conditioner at the end. The conditioner, ATC Plus, is going to help the new fluid do its job longer and better. So the next thing what we need to do is we're going to actually perform a transmission service on this vehicle using the PF5 HO. To perform a transmission service, what we have to do is we've got to hook, we'll take our BG PF5 high output PF5 HO, we've got to be able to hook it to the cooling system of the car, the transmission fluid cooling system. For an example, right here, once again, we got a typical transmission system. We got the transmission, we got a transmission cooler, and we got the transmission lines that go in between the transmission and the transmission cooler. When the engine's running, what's happening is transmission fluid is actually being pumped from the transmission through the lines, through the cooler, and back to the transmission. What we're going to do is we're going to take our machine and we're going to break into this system and connect our machine to the cooler loop of this system. So, for example, we would take our machine and simply connect the machine to the cooling system of the transmission this way. At this point, what happens is when the vehicle's running, the engine's running, the transmission's being engaged, what happens is the fluid flows through the hose, through the transmission machine, back through the cooler, and back to the transmission. So, what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and perform a transmission service using the PF5 HO on the vehicle behind me. I'm going to ask my assistant, Cody Lyons, BG Customer Service. I'm going to ask him to help us out here. So I'm going to ask Cody to go ahead and fill the machine. To do that, basically we've got to make sure that our ball valve's open, or we got a valve on the side of the machine, the overflow valve that needs to be open also, and he's going to go ahead and fill the machine. What we're looking for right here is we've got our overflow tube right on the side here. When fluid starts flowing out of that overflow tube, that tells us that the machine is full. This particular machine has a 16-quart tank in it, so we've got a 3124. It's a BG transmission fluid, 4 gallons, 16 quarts. So here pretty quick, we should start seeing fluid come out of the side of the machine. And there we go. So the next thing what we need to do is Cody needs to figure out what adapters fits this vehicle and we're just going to go ahead and get connected to the transmission fluid cooler loop of the system. It looks like all my fluid's gone. I'm going to go ahead and close my ball valve on the side here. I'm going to close my ball valve on the side up here. So we put the machine in bypass, check flow, and that's where we're at right now. Check flow. The next thing we want to do is start the vehicle. When the vehicle starts, once again, we want to make sure that we don't have any leaks on our connections. We're going to watch our sight glass, make sure that we have fluid flow. Looks good. If the fluid is going the wrong direction, we can simply, right here, this knob right here says correct flow. We can simply turn the knob 90 degrees to correct the flow. Now, this machine has a pump in it, PF5 high output. It's a 12-volt pump. Once again, that's our pump down there in the bottom. It's a 12-volt pump, so we're going to have to find a 12-volt power source. We're going to use the battery off the vehicle. Next thing, we've got the vehicle started. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add our quick clean. On this machine, we can add the quick clean right through the funnel. Cap back on. The cleaner is sitting right here in the funnel, right? So we've got to get it from the funnel to the vehicle. So to do that, we're going to go to add. All right, I can see it and hear that the conditioner has been injected into the system. At this point, we're going to let the vehicle run for approximately 15 minutes. While it's running, we're going to have Cody go in there and run the transmission through the gears. Quick Clean's done its job. The next thing, we want to put the machine in process, and we want to turn the booster pump on. What's happening right now is the used fluid is being pumped to the bottom of the tank while it's pushing the new fluid back to the vehicle. As you can see, the indicator on top of the tank is starting to come up. That's the indication that the service is about complete. Next, we'll see a split in the gauges. So as we can see, we got a split in the gauges. All right, so we know the service is complete. I'm going to turn off the pump, the booster pump. I'll put the machine back into check flow. What we need to do at this point is we need to add our conditioner. So, once again, we can add the conditioner through the funnel like we did the cleaner. Take the switch, go to add. What happened was the pump pulled the product out of the funnel and put it into the system. At this point, I'm going to have Cody check the fluid level of the vehicle, make sure that we're okay.
That's good.
If we needed to take some fluid out, we could use the ball valve on the side of the machine to take some fluid out. If we needed to add fluid, we could add new fluid to this funnel. Once again, go to add, and we could put new fluid into the system. Cody's checked our fluid, he says it looks good. At this point, what we need to do is turn the vehicle off. Next, we need to disconnect the machine from the vehicle. What we're going to do at this point, actually what Cody's going to do, he's going to hook the lines back up to the vehicle. He's going to get the vehicle started, make sure that we don't have any leaks, and he's also going to check the fluid level once again just to make sure that everything's doing like it's supposed to. This service is recommended every 30,000 miles. That is how you do a BG automatic transmission fluid service. That is how you keep this transmission operating properly for life.